Hello, folks. Hello. Hey, Jessica. What's up? Hey, Mama Nora. Happy belated Mama Nora. I hope all is well. I hope you're celebrating this week. So Mama Nora's birthday was, what was it, Tuesday?
Mm.
Tuesday or Wednesday. Either way, no. And then either yesterday, Tuesday or yesterday. I keep thinking today's Friday. And then Mama Nora is also cancer free. And found out
Oh,
that she's
congratulations.
look, celebrate. Celebrate.
Yes.
That is a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Blessing. My dad had stage 4 cancer, throat cancer, and when he went into remission, um, he started doing all the things that he wasn't supposed to. Just did
Mm-hmm.
not take care of himself. He didn't care. He was just, so, it is a blessing to, have such a terrible disease out of the body and to be, clear and
Yeah.
free. And so, um, I will say, um, we were talking behind the, backstage. I did not finish this book. Um, I had 40 pages left and I just kind of put it down and was like, something told me not much was going to happen, not much, what I probably shouldn't have the expectation of like learning about Mars because they were talking about it in the second book, learning about, what was going on. And I, with her other series, like The Patternist, they skip drastically in time, right? So it's for me, I was just thinking like, oh, we're gonna 50 years from now, hopefully, we'll get an update of like what's going on with the human race and like, but this was very info dumpy to me. And so I did not finish. I will probably try to finish it this weekend, but we're gonna talk about it today. Maya definitely finished. I'm the one who definitely finished it. I'm sure you guys have also finished it, but I wasn't in the right space. I've been working 10, 12-hour days this week, and so I wasn't here for the info dumpy. I've been getting info dumpy at work and this, and I was like, yeah. So I wanted to finish it. I will say I enjoyed that you know that this Jonas person became. Please. Do I get over there? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That this Jonas person became a Oli. You're on mute.
Sorry. Uloy.
Eloy. Look, not me trying to sign him out, but honestly, that's what I was doing because I was like, I'm not paying for this audiobook. So, on Audible, I'm not using a credit for that, and so yeah, I appreciate that he became one of those because I knew that they like manipulated DNA and like went in and adjusted the body or was able to do certain things, and they're also sexless, right? They're not
Mm-hmm.
male, female, and I was like, okay, I can get down with that, but I know that they manipulate DNA and they can adjust and they can cure and they can do all of these things. And Lilith has had so many babies.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you know, it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen.
She has like more than 10 kids. She has to.
She has to.
And she's also, they mentioned that she's over a century old. So she's over, she's 130 something.
Oh my god.
She's 130 something, and they mentioned at the beginning of I think I might have highlighted it. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that. I remember he talked about, his
Mm,
brothers and sisters going through metamorphosis at a later
mhm.
age than what was considered normal.
Yeah.
Um And so, he was kind of a late bloomer as well.
It was on my edition, the ebook 39. In
Mm.
regards to Lilith and her garden, she changed the location of her garden every few years and let the forest reclaim the land. Within these changes, and with her habit of using fertilizer and river mud, she had used and reused the land beyond low for a century.
Mm-hmm.
So she had been using that land for a whole century, a whole 100 years, that she's just popping at children for the Oankali.
Lo ate the wood. It was not intelligent enough to reason with. Would it not be perhaps 100 years? Oh, you're right. I didn't even pick up on that.
100 years old, like 100, and she was already in her 30s. No, in her late 20s, I think, when the first book took place. When she was, when the
Mm.
war happened.
Yeah.
So she's 120 something. They've kept her alive for so long with their genetic tampering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Which is just weird, and like, and to still have babies, and her new boo was like, how many kids ago was that? Like, I was like, what?
So many kids.
Oh my gosh, girl, I was grossed out. I really was.
and and okay, so this whole what we were talking about behind the scenes,
There's 11.
um yeah, out of all of Butler's books, we were agreeing that this was not our favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I think I liked it a little bit more than Bree, but not that much more,
Yeah.
because the first book and the second book had action in it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Lilith is waking up, she's talking to Jediah. Jediah is um oh, I forgot their names. God, anyways. So she's talking to Jediah. He's trying to get her used to the Oankali. She gets used to the Oankali, then she has to work with these humans, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's conflict between the humans, so there's
Right. Things were
tension.
popping off.
Right,
Yeah.
there's all this. Then they go to the training grounds, and
Mm-hmm.
then they think that some of the humans think they really are on Earth already. Some of them think they are on a ship. They have this fight. They kill Joseph, and then she has to hunt them down. Then she fights. Like, all this action's going on. And then, like, in the second one, the action starts right away as well, because
Mm-hmm.
Akeen is like a little baby and then gets kidnapped, and it
Right.
just goes from there. And so there's all this action happening, and then the way this one starts is uh his name, excuse me, their name is J- Jodas. So Jodas starts off as, yeah,
Yeah.
Jodas starts off as, they call themselves a sub-adult.
Mm-hmm.
They were referring to themselves as, I'm a sub-adult. So they start off as a sub-adult, and then they go through a metamorphosis. As they're going through metamorphosis, we find out that they are becoming an Uloi,
Mm-hmm.
and they are going to be the first ever human construct Oankali Uloi
Cool.
born. And they're upset at this because I want to say they perceive themselves as being
Male.
male,
Mm-hmm.
and so now they are going to be Uloi, which is genderless. And so they're like, okay, but that's all that happens in the first part. Like, in the
Yeah.
first part of, because the book is like part 1, part 2, part 3.
Right.
So the first part of part 1, Dawn, everything's popping off. Like, okay, I'm getting to know these aliens. There's suspense. There's a little thriller element. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's something interesting to keep you latched onto the story. but in this first section of this book in particular, what is
What's happening?
to keep you latched on to the story? Like, all Jodas is saying is like, okay, I'm metamorphosizing and I'm changing, and I don't want to change into what I'm becoming. And
Right.
then their Uloi parent says like, oh, I'm so sorry this is happening, but you need to go into exile. And so that leads into part 2 where they go into exile. So essentially part 1, I'm sorry to say, Butler, but like very little happens in part 1. And
Yeah. I
so
I think it was just the only and I just found this book so info dumping, especially in the first part, because you're still telling us about the way that it works and metamorphosis. Like we got it the first book and the second book, and like and you could have briefly said it, but she went on about it. And so the first book really was like, oh, this has never the only thing was Eloi has never happened with the human construct before, and that was it. Like,
mhm.
we didn't need to spend 10 chapters, and I'm probably exaggerating, in knowing that this has never happened before and Eloi hasn't happened before. But
Yeah,
it
I
just
think that was like 9 chapters.
yeah, I felt like it just kept going on and on. And for me, I didn't we didn't need that. We didn't.
As I'm checking right now, but I want to say the first part was, yeah, it was 9 chapters.
Hmm.
And it was just 9 chapters of like, I'm metamorphosizing and I don't want to.
And then Jodas kept saying like, um, he before he went into metamorphosis, he knew that he was going, like he had a heads up, and he was like, something's wrong. And so usually when they go into, at least in the first book, when they went into metamorphosis, it was like a same day thing, right? You didn't have several days of like, you knew that it was coming. So I can go into it any day, but I feel like Nikali just like kind of went into metamorphosis and slowly just went into it, but it was like a same day type of thing. Like he was having conversations, he had family gathered together, and all of these different things. And I just felt, I was like, okay, he's going into metamorphosis. And then they mentioned how he would go into metamorphosis twice, which is later on in the book. um but then it just was so info dumping. Like, I can change and I can do this. Like, we know you can do that because Nikali could do that too.
Right.
Like, it just, yeah. Hello, everyone. I love those. I love those one. I gave it 5 stars. Nora gave it 4. Okay. I think I like this one more than the last book. Yeah, I can see that. This one was heavy on the alien species rather than the humans. The second book I feel like was more, the first 2 books were more like designated for the humans and the conflicts that were happening with the humans. So it was more, the storyline was more human based, but this was more alien people.
Like, it
Whatever.
was more about humanity.
Yeah, humanity, but the characters itself, like I felt like
Mm.
we weren't, there was obviously human characters in it, but we
Mhm.
were mostly in Jodas' head.
And
Right.
like, I was telling Bree in the background before the back show. I understand that this book is an allegory for colonization.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I like that it was very thought provoking on the issues of humanity, colonization, community.
Yeah.
Um, but it was, I wish it was more like, I don't know if I'm being greedy and saying like, I appreciate the thought provokingness, but I wish it was thought provoking, and I wish there was also more action.
I wish there was more action, and I wish it wasn't like as much as he talked, or Octavia wrote about Eloi and Metamorphosis and the changes that he was experiencing and different things like that. I wish we had less of that, more action and more more of those thought-provoking conversations between the Uloi and humans and whatnot. I agree with the colonization, telling humans on, and even in the first book when they took away their ability to procreate, we talked about like how who gets to make that decision and why are you doing that. But this was a lot more of that, like really even after 100 years is like you're still telling people um how to live and what to do, and like you expect humanity to fail, you expect them to fight and not survive, and your way of fixing the solution and controlling them, controlling their DNA, um just yeah, it just it's a bigger conversation that we could definitely go into, for sure.
And I was thinking of last book where the main character is Akin, and he's talking to not Kagoyat, I can't remember its name. It's another Uloi, but he's talking to the Uloi, and they're basically saying like, we know that there are other villages out there, because they call them like little villages with the different people in them.
Right.
We know that there are villages out there. Well, we're not going to go attack them in each village. We know where they are. We're keeping track of them.
Right.
But in this book, Joda says like, my people are going to come for you, and I think that's mainly because those humans have gained the ability to procreate again
Mm-hmm.
on their own.
On their own.
And the Oankali are like, well, no, you have tumors and you have cancers and you have illnesses and you're not doing this right. You need us to help you. We need to aid you. Do it our way. So
Mm-hmm.
either you go to Mars or you go to Lo or you go to the ship. Which one do you want? You have to do it our way. And the humans are not understanding, like, why can't we? I know we have tumors and I know we have cancers, but why can't we do it our way? Like, why are you trying to control us
Yeah,
so fully?
exactly. Yeah, I agree. It just I honestly checked out after he kept talking about his metamorphosis and changes and what his tentacles look like, and I was like, okay, I checked out like halfway through the book and pushed, and I'm on 240. I have 40 pages left. I'm gonna finish it. But I like that she took a sci-fi approach to colonization,
Hmm.
um, because it just, again, thought provoking. I really thought, based off of the patternist and the time jumps that we were getting, that we would get how humanity is working or happening on Mars. And I thought we would get a lot more of that rather than, um, okay, new kid of Lilith, that is now an Uloi, and he's trying to find his way. Also, the dependency, and we talked about this backstage, the dependency on humans.
Hmm.
So the hypocrisy of like trying to control humans, but you crave them, right? You crave them. You want to be mated. You want to be this, that, and the third. And it's like, okay, y'all all need each other. You're saying that they need you because you're having all these issues, and I think at one point, what's that girl's name?
Aura?
No, the one that he mated with, the brother and sister, and she was like bleeding internally or something like that, and
Oh, because
he,
she got shot.
yeah, and so it's like,
Jesusa?
Jesusa. And so it's like, and even the brother at one point, he's healing him, growing his hair back and stuff like that.
Tomas.
Y'all need the, yes, you can heal and you have the ability to heal, but you're craving to be connected with them and to be mated with them. And it just, but then you want to control them at the same time, and have them do what you want to do, and run a society the way you want them to run a society, and just hypocritical. I just, yeah.
And I think the way I was thinking about it is I think the Aora, the sibling,
Mm-hmm.
and Jodas get exiled
Yeah.
because they become Uloi and they have to learn how to control their powers
Right.
and to make sure that they don't accidentally kill somebody or change somebody's genetic structure, which is exactly what starts to happen during the book. Um, like So they're learning how to control their bodies after metamorphose. And then Aora is like, well, I don't want to be this anyways, but on
Yeah.
top of that, I'm very lonely
Mm-hmm.
and I need the sense of community and connection
Yep.
and love and affection. And they literally turn themselves into like a spineless, boneless fish blob, like on accident out of depression. And I'm like, that's relatable.
Completely.
That's relatable. Out of depression
As
because
the
they're
life
so
fly.
lonely. Because they're so lonely. And I'm like, oh, this is so sad. But they needed that connection. And I wondered, excuse me, I wondered if it was because most of the people in Low are related to them. So like they can't find that connection with anybody in Low.
Mm-hmm.
Lilith has 2011 damn children. Like all these.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of descendants. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That's a good point. Um I just find it extremely too hypocritical of like let's colonize the humans, and say, oh, we fixed you and we did this and that, but we're going to take this from you, and we want you to live the way we want you to live, and you're so dependent on them for that community, for that touch, for those feelings, and it just, yeah. I don't know. I like these two as a character. And of course Octavia, of course, made it so, like, when they were talking about touching and having kids, and I was just like, ugh. Of course Octavia would do this. Like, why am I, after reading her all year, it's like I should be used to it. I'm not.
Like I shouldn't be surprised, but I am.
But I am. I thought, I thought we were maturing out of this phase of, disgustingness.
I was like, oh god, I don't get it. I don't know. The book the book was I think I need to read it again so I can like evaluate it, but one thing I really did like is how apparently this whole book, like all the conversations are taking place in Spanish because the not main characters, the two mated people, the love interests, Jesusa and Thomas,
Hmm.
they only speak Spanish, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
So in
in the book,
yeah.
where he was asking about Espanol, and then I didn't realize that Jodas switched
Mhm.
languages. Um, so I didn't make that connection, but yeah, I appreciate it. I think there wasn't there a Filipino, or maybe I'm just tripping. Another person, I don't remember. Um, but I like that they still have diversity as far as even just languages
Mhm.
still in the community. You would think after 100 years, how are they still, like, because they didn't have the, at least they weren't procreating in the second book unless you were connected to,
The Oankali.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Nobody could unless where they're from on the mountain they've been procreating this whole time. But
Right.
they did tell the story of the woman who I can't remember her name, but she was like the first one who got pregnant and she was like traveling and got assaulted by some man and ended
Mhm.
up pregnant and then had the kids, and then
Yeah.
more people started having kids in that village.
Yeah. But that name got me right. Like, where'd you get that from? And why? I was like, she's saying feminine Jesus, is she? Then she said it again. I was like, damn. Right. They wanted them to have a better life and not pass things to their kids. As someone with a genetic disease, I very much appreciated that.
Yes, they did. They wanted, and it wasn't like there was no choice of like, let us help you fix your genetic disorder and
Mm-hmm.
then you can go back to your village and go be happy. That
Right.
was not an option. They didn't give them that option. It was, you're either going to come live with us, or
Right.
you're going to go to the Mars, or you're going to go back on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the only options. There
Yeah.
was no option to get genetically fixed and be left behind and be left alone.
Right. It wasn't it was more of a trading situation as opposed to, like you said, um and more demanding, right? Rather
Hmm.
than that's out of the kindness of our hearts because we don't want you guys back where we were before the war happened. Let us fix you and go make your choice, right? And go do whatever you want to do. We will support you. Which is weird because I found that that's what I thought that's what they did in the first book. And even the second book, like, yes, you were tracking them and you knew what was going on, but you allowed them to make the choice. Like, it just, you weren't forcing them to kind of do it your way. I mean, yes, in the first book they were on a ship, but it's like they still had the choice to leave and not be a part of the community and all different types of things. So, yep, and I'm like, no, I'm thriving, but there are a lot of people with my condition who aren't. Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys, you and that household have had an amazing year. Didn't you like pass speech this year and stop doing speech, and then your mom's cancer free, birthdays, having fun? Y'all are doing the damn thing over there, okay? What's in the Kansas water? I just want to know. Success is in the Kansas water, because baby, send me some. There just needed to be a choice. And I think that
Hmm.
is what me and Maya are saying. It's like colonizers will be colonizers. And so, as opposed to giving the choice to enough for them to, like you said, just heal their genetic disease. You knew that you loved this cancer so much, right? They mentioned it in every book how
Hmm.
intriguing the cancer was. You knew that, even with Judith, like, didn't she have a cyst or something, or she had no, maybe it was something in her lung. I don't know, but you knew that people had these diseases in general. And when you woke them up, you didn't test them, or you didn't do any of that while they were even asleep.
Hmm.
So give a choice, empathize with the people. They have told you over the last 100 years that they don't want to be a part of you guys.
Right.
So then this Mars thing became a thing, and so it the choice was taken from them, and I don't like that. And like I said, colonizers will be colonizers.
And they were rulers. And
Mhm.
they did say that Earth was not going to exist for too much long, but I don't remember if they put an estimation. So I don't remember if they said an amount of time, but they did say like Earth is not feasible.
Yes. Yep.
And so from one point of view, you're like, okay, well, these people are just doing these aliens, the Oankali, are just doing what they need to do for the humans to save them because there's not going to be Earth much longer. They want to get rid of their illnesses and their cancers. But at the same time, they're doing it with a strong hand. Like, there's very little choice here.
Exactly.
You're gonna do this or you're gonna do this, and those are your only choices, one or two.
I agree. I agree. I did graduate speech. You know what?
Congratulations.
I'm telling you, it's in the water. It's something. Um, hold on. Give me just a second. Continue without me.
But yeah, I don't know this book. The Oankali are very creepy to me. Aliens are creepy to me in general, but the Oankali are creepy.
The
They
uncle
want to
are definitely creepy.
force you to have all kinds of kids with them.
And again with the toys, it's like so. Jodas mentioned what you were talking about as far as the Earth not being feasible. He said within the next century that they would be leaving and moving on, and we know that the Onkali need another species to procreate with to continue their line or something like that.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I think within the next century. But this is the last book, so we'll never know.
Yeah,
But yeah, I just I'm curious. You gave it a 3.5 stars, right?
yeah,
3.5.
3.5. I might change it by the morning because I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah,
But
I'm
if
gonna
I do
finish it and
change it,
see what I'm gonna reread part three. I left
mhm.
off, like I said, I had 40 pages left, and I'm gonna see go back to part three and kind of reread it. I got caught up with the leaf season, this Ice Planet Barbarians mess.
Okay, I know it's not Butler, but I read the first Ice Planet Barbarians, and
You hated it.
I wanted to like it so badly.
You were analyzing it, weren't
I
you?
could I oh,
Because I remember that you bought the book, didn't you?
and I returned it. I got it wasn't even my money, it was a gift card money, but I got that gift card money back. And I'm a just a spoiler. This happens like 6% of the way through. There's sexual assault in the book on
Yes.
page.
Yeah.
So I was very upset by that, and I was just like, so I just returned it. I finished it though.
Oh, I was
I
gonna.
read the whole thing.
Okay. Not you DNF, or I was gonna say not you DNFing over that, and you sitting here reading inside
No,
every
I
book,
read no.
every Octavia book.
I read the whole thing, but I just didn't like how crude it was. And then like, you'll find out later what happens to the character that gets assaulted. But after I found out that happened to that character, I was like, I don't want to read this anymore. So I finished it and was like, I'm not gonna read. But the thing is, I had books 1 through 6 physical copy,
Oh,
so I just
got
returned books 1 through 6.
it. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
I am on book three, or I finished book three, so I'm kind of eating it up. That it was very uncomfortable. I understand what, but it did for me. I thought it added to the plot line, and I'm glad that they didn't go in detail with it because that would have been like some BS. But yeah. Um, as far as aliens, well, and even then, I feel like their tentacles you
Yeah.
could consider, right? Like, how many times have they put their tentacles in the what is the series called? Genogenesis series. How many times have they put their tentacles on someone and gave them this, euphoric feeling
Right.
without their consent, without asking?
Right.
And so, is it as gruesome and traumatic as what those girls were feeling on the ship? No, but it's the same assault as assault. And so, um you know it, yeah, but it doesn't happen after book one.
Oh,
So
that's good.
yeah, it doesn't have to happen after book one. um but even in this book, right, like they did it to what's that girl's name? Jesusa? Jesus.
Jesus, yeah.
They did it to her. Just put it on the cover.
They were like trying to get her to take her clothes off. I was like, what in the
Right.
hell? That
But you
didn't
won't
make
read.
any
I put it
sense.
my
I was like, what the hell?
No, but it is still, it's very uncomfortable
Yes.
when you take, you know, these are aliens with tentacles, and he he even mentioned how Judith mentioned something about his scent and luring them
Mhm.
in. And so I
Mhm.
was like, but again, all of that to
Without
is
consent.
very assaulting.
Yes. Yes.
Taking your tentacle and like, and then asking her like, how did that feel? I didn't ask for it.
Right.
Did you ask me? Did you ask me?
And
No.
then, like, even with the case of Lilith, like, at the end of the book, Lilith is like, my boyfriend got stabbed to death or hacked to death. He's not here anymore. I'm stuck with these aliens. And then Nikonj is just like, is it dirty that I got you pregnant? And I'm like, Nikonj, did you ask? Did you ask her?
Right.
And in book 2, in regards to that, Lilith says, I know I wanted kids again, but if I had sense enough to not ask for kids, Nikon should have had sense enough to leave me alone and not make me pregnant and
Mm-hmm.
not give me kids.
Yeah, because
Um,
she had, not only does she have all these oncology babies or sub adult, whatever we're calling them, not only
mhm.
does she have all these babies, but she had two prior to the world war. And it's like, girl, she's just a popping out machine.
Yeah,
And just, ugh, man,
a lot of kids.
a lot of kids. A little too
A
many.
lot of a lot of kids. I'm like, you have like 15 alien children. My goodness.
Yeah. Mama says her triple negative breast cancer would have been a filet mignon. They would have ate that up. They would have used her as a guinea pig. Let's take it. Don't worry about it, sis. We're gonna treat you like a queen. You got triple breast cancer. Triple. You would be everything to Ankali. They would have ate that up. Man.
Nope, not at all. She not wrong.
She not. They would have been so intrigued. So intrigued. I like my aliens. I don't trust OEB aliens. Yeah. And being
Yeah, her aliens are scary as hell. Her aliens are scary as hell.
yeah. Honestly, when I went into this book, not only did I know that okay, there was going to be humans, and then we had these oncology oncology kids and humans, but I really thought we were going to go to Mars,
Mhm.
and this book was going to be about Mars
Mhm.
and Mars species and oncology procreating with them
Mhm.
and the humans procreating with the alien species on Mars. I really thought we were going to be on Mars, this book. So I'm glad that we get to see, like and hear that it does exist and people are there. But girl, I wanted to be there in the book. Like, so I just, yeah,
I
that's what I
don't
really thought.
I don't trust these aliens.
Mm-mm. But a lot of the humans in this series are dumb as shit. Very
Yeah.
so maybe that some of that was having handed in. We needed that absolutely, and it just like the Uncully say, they're gonna destroy themselves. Wars don't have to exist. Y'all can create communities and survive, but you guys keep hurting each other. And so, yeah, I just it really and I know we talked about this maybe the first book or the second book on how like people fend for themselves and just create there's so much hate and instead of all the humans coming together when they first landed on Earth and or wherever they are, they kind of divided and started taking from each other. And like even her garden, she said in this book that she wanted the garden to be for them.
Yeah.
She wanted them to take and plant and survive.
Mhm.
Instead, they destroyed it.
Mhm.
So
They did.
it really goes to show like, and I see that a lot of just in the world today is like we can't coexist without hate. And your
Mhm.
opinions are your opinions, but why does that have to be like why do you have to hurt each other? You know what I'm saying? Why is there a physical reaction? Even in the second book when they took oh boy as a hostage, it's like didn't have to do it. But oh okay. Are very specific. I feel like they were written on purpose, absolutely to push the narrative or the plot in the series. I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that too. Hey, wanted to show some love and support. Thanks for coming. Let's see. I actually have to go back to work myself. So I took a 2 hours off and then I'm gonna go back to work for like an hour and a half.
Oh, okay.
And then tomorrow I work both jobs.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, the ghetto. I'm going to be honest. Most of the violence in this year has been in OEB. Yo, it's like she predicted the future, or not the future, but the fact that history has repeated herself.
Mhm.
You know, repeated itself. Like the violence that we see, the control, the territory, the even down to the health of people.
Mhm.
It's so much can be so relatable to Octavia's books. Parable of the Sower series,
Mhm.
I I swear that's happening right now.
Yeah.
I swear when they were in the car and there was bombs going off and guns flying, like bullets flying everywhere. I swear it's happening. I swear. Man, I see it.
And Lilith said she did want children, but she says she didn't want them by the Oankali. She
Mhm.
didn't want to have children with the Oankali, but she got pregnant anyways because Nikonja made her pregnant. So in book 2, she says that she wanted kids, but knew well enough not to ask. So Nikon should have known well enough not to impregnate her.
Mhm.
And I think that for me, the difference between something like Imago was sexual assault, where is like, well, Imago was supposed to be like an apocalyptic sci-fi, and sexual assault is in there, kind of to describe how she believes things would go if we were almost extinct but saved by an alien race, etc. With Ice Planet Barbarians, it's a romance, and so I'm going in there looking for only romance.
Mm.
And then I go in there, and then like there's like a kidnapping and an abduction, and then she's
Yep.
getting gang assaulted by these aliens,
It's hard romance.
and I'm like, this is supposed to be a romance. What in the
It didn't say it wasn't dark. It didn't.
it was supposed to be I'm like, this is supposed to
No,
be a romance.
it is not supposed to be ootsy cutesy type of. It could be. Yeah, we're dealing with
I
aliens.
thought it was supposed to be a cute, fluffy romance, and it
No,
wasn't. And it wasn't. It was not.
it was dark. It was dark in the beginning. It
And
just yeah,
it was, yeah.
in the beginning. And I mean, like I said, I'm on book 3, and I would never purchase these books. Like I wouldn't. But it is. It hasn't happened. I think anytime that we are talking about any type of romance, because we can even the romance in here, right? I mean, technically the Uloi, um, I would call that romance, right? Connecting and having this euphoric feeling. I would consider that in somewhat romance category, but like a sci-fi romance. But there's still anytime that you're dealing with any type of romance, there could be a lack of consent, and so
Mhm, mhm,
consent in general, whether it's lack of or heavily in a book,
mhm.
is always something that I'm looking at when it comes to any type of romance.
Yeah.
And this Octavia in general, in a lot of the books, consent is Ooh, don't even get me started with Duro and his
Nasty.
nasty ass. They didn't. The consent was like, "Oh, I told you to do it." Like
Right.
that was a form of consent. But yeah, no, I see what you're saying, and that you didn't think that it was going to be like this dark romance, but you are dealing with um aliens, lack of communication and language barriers and stuff like that. So it gets better. That is fair. Just no essay and Ice Planet Barbarian was one scene. It doesn't happen after that. And she bends the whole thing. So if you want to
I
join us,
know. It's on Hoopla.
it's on Hoopla. Yeah.
Yeah. I read the first one and I was so excited because I had told you the new covers came out for the
Mhm.
books and I really loved the new covers.
Mhm.
I just love sci-fi romance.
Yeah.
But I was very disappointed in that and in particular. But I'm very happy to hear that it's not in any of the other books.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, yeah, for sure. I think, like I said, and just in general, I mean, the only other thing that I would, possibly see as an issue is the consent of,
Yeah.
um, not that they don't want it, but that the permission is not there for one thing that I'm thinking of in particular. So yeah, everything is on KU. The novellas aren't always available everywhere, but they are on KU. Do you
Mhm.
have Kindle Unlimited?
I have a free trial that ends on New Year's.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I yeah, I definitely invested thanks to Jessica. I'm telling you, Jessica is just like, she had an amazing year. I really want to take the time to do maybe just a live show and just celebrate our wins for the fucking year. This year has been so traumatic across the board for the world. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I just really want to celebrate the New Year's, like, and just not the New Year's, but celebrate the year and just talk about our accomplishments and what we
Mm-hmm.
have done.
Yeah.
Right? The good. We talk about the bad every day. We share what's happening in the world, the traumatic events happening around the world, and
Mm-hmm.
we're stressed. It's a holiday season. There's a lot of things happening to us, to our loved ones. Um, but I really, maybe that's something I'll do. I think this Sunday, either this Sunday or next Sunday, I have to work. But one of these Sundays, we'll sit and talk about it. If you want to join, that's feel free. But we'll talk about the good stuff that happened. Come with a list of just all the accomplishments you've had for the year,
Mm-hmm.
which requires you to
Yeah.
reflect on every month, everything that you have done, what goals you have reached. We're just gonna talk about all the happy, just the fun times. Freaking Octavia then put us through some things, and Zora have put us through some things, and we survived barely, but we survived.
Yeah.
We survived. So yeah, I think that's what I want to do next, for sure. The next book is going to be Kindred,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, my daughter moved the book, so I don't have it anymore. I have my stack here, but it's not there. Okay, the next book it no, that's not it. The next book is going to be Kindred. We're saving that live show for the new year
Yeah.
for sure. Which let me. I we did a great job on the schedule
Yes.
because we're not ending the new year with a traumatic ass book. That's for next year.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we did a look A++ schedule. Cause Lord, if I had to end the year with that book, I might be crying.
Oh my god.
Going in 2024 crying.
It literally did make me cry. I was so distressed. I was just so distressed reading it that I just like was shedding tears.
Oh.
And it just made me think of like my ancestors and just like I was like, this is so strong.
Yeah,
This
I can't
is
do that right now.
no.
So, so glad that we have this last. And I wanted to be able to watch the TV shows, but as I said in my TBR video, if it's not a great, if it's not a reflection of the book, I don't want to support it. And so I'm just glad that they are. Um, sorry, I'm just glad that they stopped doing it. Or stopped. They didn't continue with the series because it's not a reflection of the book. So
Mm.
we don't need Octavia represented in that way at all. She said what she said in a book. Okay. So the live discussion for that will be on the 11th, and maybe on the 24th, which is New Year's Eve, or
Hmm.
not New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Maybe that day, because I don't think I have to work. Maybe that day we'll discuss all of the accomplishments for 2023, so we can just reflect and celebrate with you guys, because this, you know, we got to. If we
Right.
need to celebrate the accomplishments we've had for the year, then who gonna do it?
Right.
So I
I
don't know.
was
If you guys are
thinking
down for
we could do a poll and next month when we gather for Kindred discussion, and it could just be a poll of like what was your favorite Octavia Butler book out of all the books you read.
that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um and then so we can just see what books, or we could just ask, like, when they could put in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I might skip Kendrick. Look, please do if you need to.
Yeah, don't feel obligated to push yourself through that
Mm.
if you don't think you can handle it, because you've already read it and you already know how it goes.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I have not read it, so this will be my first time.
Mhm.
Um, and this is my first time on all Octavia Butler's books, but yeah, it will be my first time. So, um, I will come with all of the things. I'm looking forward to it. It's been a year.
It has been. I can't wait to show you my Kindred. I have a special edition Kindred. Tanana Reeve Do wrote the introduction,
Okay.
and so when I saw her, I asked her to sign it for me, and Tanana Reeve Do signed it on her page where she did the introduction. So I was really happy. It has artwork inside of it. Um, I'm trying to think of the company. It's not Subterranean Press. It's not.
Okay.
Um,
Man, that's amazing.
I'm just looking at it. The Folio Society.
Okay.
And it has like artwork in it from the actual story. And then it's like in this blue casing. It's really beautiful.
Oh, that's amazing.
It was expensive though. I
Yeah.
paid $65 for it. It
No.
was expensive. Yeah. It was expensive for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because I don't even my special editions from Illumicrate, I don't pay that much.
Yeah. It was a lot.
Well, a pretty penny.
Speaking of Illumicrate, I'll tell you after the show.
Okay. All right. So Kindred, next month we will be having the live discussion on the 11th of January. Whew. That's a month from now.
We're
So
getting there.
we are getting there. Next year we will not be doing a read along, but
Mhm.
we did agree that read weed. We would read a lot of Toni Morrison.
Mhm.
And so there's not going to be a read along for that. Guys, don't do it. I got pressured into Octavia, which I'm grateful for. But I don't know if I can host another read along.
You're right.
I'm joining The Witcher read along with Gabby, Christopher Ruccio, or something like that, which is a Sun Eater series,
Ooh.
and I'm reading The Malazan, a bunch of white men. Plus white men. So Toni Morrison, it's not gonna. It's so informal between both of us that we will be doing and talking about, and so that's going to be a fun time. Yeah, but after Kindred, we're finished.
Yeah.
Finished. I will not look. No, you do your thing. I'm not doing Toni. I can't. Look, I didn't say nobody to join us. I said that we will be continuing reading together.
Mm-hmm.
Together. And it will be informal, and we will just converse amongst ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe do, I don't know how we're gonna do that, but yeah. Don't feel necessary to join any of that because there's so many read-alongs happening next year. So this is it. This is it. One more book and then we're finished. And y'all don't have to do with me no more. Ever. You're like, yay! No more Brie on the internet. Thank God. No, I'm just playing. But thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. And we will see you guys on the 11th.
Mm-hmm.
And within sprints as well. All right. Have a good night, guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone.